How you doing, guys? My name's SethGRW. You can find me on Discord at SethGRW number 5555. If you'd like to add me, go for it. But today I'm going to be doing just a little quick tutorial on armorsmithing for Roblox. If you don't know what armorsmithing is, it's essentially the creation of in-game armors and things like that for Star Wars groups or potentially military groups if that's what you're into. I do it for Star Wars groups personally because I enjoy Star Wars. I enjoy, Star Wars groups on Roblox. I think they're good fun. So yeah, basically the software I'm using today is paint.net. The reason I use it is that it's free. I've never come across any trials or whatever. Had it for years and years and years. I find it really easy to use, and I think it's easy to learn on as well. Yeah, so if you'd like to download the software, if you don't have it already, I'm sure you can find a tutorial somewhere on YouTube for it. But yeah, anyway, let's get into it. So this you see here, this template is what it's called. I did not create this template. Okay, it was created for a group called the Clone Army of the Republic. Most of you guys have probably heard of it. It's fairly big, got 100,000 members at the moment. So I don't take credit for this template. I'm unsure of the guy who did create it. But yeah, it's a leaked template. I don't take credit for it, but I have used it in multiple creations of characters that I've done in the past. Anyway, if you'd like to get this template, you don't already have it, send me a DM. And I can send it to you. Anyway, so first things first, okay? What we want to be doing is recoloring and adding details to this template, okay? Now I'm going to be doing just some very basic things and teaching you how the template works and how to work with it, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a color, okay? And this color is going to be the base color for, the template, okay, or the armor. So I'm feeling something sort of 501st Legion-ish. So let's go with a nice blue, okay? I'm going to switch that to primary. Let's find a nice blue. There we go. So I want to be coloring in this breastplate here. That's what I want to start with, okay? It's what you're usually going to start with because it's the most prominent part of the armor. Now, there's a couple little tricks to getting around this, okay? If I select a paint bucket, okay, and I click here to color in this white part, you're gonna see that it blurs and it changes the color of the outline. Okay, we don't want that. We don't want that at all. That's not what we want. So the way to get around that is I'm just going to quickly undo that. Is we use this tool here called the magic wand. Okay, I'm going to select this tool and then I'm going to left click on this part of the breastplate. Okay, then I'm going to select the paint bucket again and I'm going to left click once again, and now it's colored in, and you can see that because we've used that magic wand and it's only selected the white, that it's not blurred anymore like it was previously. That's what we want. We want it to be nice and clean. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. I'm just going to click here, go back to the paint bucket. You see this little dotted outline? That's what we're going to be coloring in. And I'm going to click again and it's blue. So this is a nice little color. I'm happy with this. Now you can see that there's a little bit of grey shading below here, okay? The rule of thumb is pretty much you want to be using a darker shade of whatever the color above is when it comes to shading, okay? So you see here, this area is white, so the shading below it is a grey color, okay? This area here is a grey color, so the area below it is going to be an even darker grey. I hope that makes sense. It's a little bit confusing, but I hope it makes sense. So, for instance, if I have colored this in blue, which I have, what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to go down to the colors section, going to click on more, and all I'm going to do is drag down this arrow on the V part, which is going to darken up the color. Okay, and you can see it now, this is fairly dark. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the magic wand because we don't want our coloring to blur. I'm going to select the light grey shading. Then I'm going to select the paint bucket once again and I'm going to left click. And now you can see that it looks shaded. Okay, this is lighter, this is darker. I might have gone a little bit too dark, but that's okay. Now you see this dark grey area here, this is a deeper part of shading, okay? Just like what we see down here, it's the same colour, okay? So we're going to do that exact same thing again down in the colour section. I'm just going to drag this down even further, select the magic wand, select this, and because there's two parts to this, I want to do them both at once. I want to be efficient, I want to be able to do these both at once. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to select one of them by left clicking, then I'm going to go over to the other one, hold down the control key, and click once again. Left clicking, that is. Now I want to colour them both in. How do I do that? I do pretty much what I did just then, except I hold down Shift with the paint bucket selected, and I left click. And you can see that's coloured in both sections now, just with one click. Okay? Then I'm going to deselect, have a look at it, and that looks alright. So that's good. Okay? Now, that's essentially the gist of it. Then I'd be going through and doing the same thing with these parts here. So if I just go to this color picker here, so I can go back to this original color we started with, click on that, and then I'm going to need some light gray shading. So I'm going to right click to select my secondary color now, so that I don't have to keep going back and forth and back and forth. Select the magic wand tool, and I'm coloring in the light part, so I'm just going to click like that, and I'm going to do this part and this part as well. So I'm going to hold control, click, click, and now it's selected all three parts. Same thing again, paint bucket, hold shift, left click, and it colors it all in blue. Now the shading looks very, very off at the moment, so we're going to do that same thing again. Select the magic wand, left click, hold control, left click, hold control, left click, hold control, left click, and hold control, left click. Select the paint bucket, hold shift, right click. There we go, because we're using our secondary color, so we right click instead. Now we're going to deselect, take a look, and it looks okay. But this dark grey area we don't want. So we're going to go through once again and get rid of all this white. Click, hold control, left click, hold control, left click. There we go. Select the paint bucket, hold shift, left click, deselect, go back to the magic wand. Actually, before we do that, we need to right click on the darker shading with the color picker, just like so. Select the magic wand, control, left click, control, left click, control, left click, same and same. Select the paint bucket, hold shift, and right click, because we're using our secondary color, as you can see down here. The one at the front is primary, the one at the bottom is secondary. Okay? Then we're going to deselect once again, and that looks pretty good. Now, if I wanted to just create a basic blue version of a clone, I'd just go through and do everything through here. Same with the shoulder pads, etc. There's also a pants template. It's the same exact thing essentially. Yeah, so that's the bare basics. You can play around. You can create different patterns. You don't have to just draw everything like that. It gets much more complex. But of course, I've just done something very, very basic for the tutorial purposes. Yeah, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and it gives you a little bit of insight into armor smithing. If you think you're enjoying it or you'd like to get into it, once again, do send me a DM. I'd be more than happy to help. Okay? Alright. Cheers, guys. Have a good one.